Hey everybody, Matt Miller here, joined by Andy McNamara.
Hello.
I'm looking at a Destiny 2 screen right now.
It's a pretty good day, isn't it?
It's a good day for Destiny fans. The Destiny 2 beta just launched for PlayStation players anyway. Xbox One players are going to have to wait another 24 hours. And if you haven't pre-ordered, I'm afraid you have yet more days after that to wait. But we thought we'd take a quick look and see a little bit of what the Destiny 2 beta is offering. Now, I already played through the opening story mission and played through with a Titan. It doesn't give you any customization options, as you'll see here in a second. You just kind of get to choose one of the three classes, and it gives you a sort of default version. But I thought we'd, maybe jump around a little bit. Check out the story mission a little bit. Check out a little bit of the strike, perhaps. And then maybe we'll take a look at some competitive stuff, too. So, like I said, we got just three basic options here. Let's hop in with a Warlock and see how things go. You and I both had a chance to kind of play a little bit of this already.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I'm just like anyone else. I'm kind of excited to see what I get that's different in this beta. Everything's always a little bit, you get some you've known, and it's a little bit you don't know. That, which is, I think, this intro we've all seen if you saw the Destiny 2 reveal.
Right. And they've expanded out over the last couple of months what they're showing of this opening story mission, and this is now kind of the full thing, which is pretty cool. But it's it's also a little bit different from what those of us with longer memories have come to expect out of a Destiny beta, right?
Yeah, well, yeah. Well, certainly, yes, yeah.
The last beta, the Destiny 1 beta, was sort of this really large experience where you were leveling through a bunch of content. You were really playing through most of the Cosmodrome area.
What, you get to level 3 or something like that?
I think you would even get to like level 8 if memory serves.
Really? That high?
Yeah,
Wow,
and so the word was, when I talked to the Bungie guys, is that like there were a lot of people who would just take that content, especially once it became like a free demo for the game. That same content eventually became like a demo that people could play. People would just play through it over and over again.
Yeah, I mean, it was fun. I mean, it was definitely one of those. I played that beta because it was set, unlike I think this one,
right,
where it was set in the open world. I was like, I'm sold. Like, I want to run around, shoot things, get experience, get gear. I'm in. Right, that sold me 100%. And this one, they know everyone already knows that, and also they're kind of, I think, and you would agree, I believe, that they're hiding some of the secrets and some of the magic. Hopefully in that open world when we finally get a chance to see it.
I think they are hiding a lot about this game. And I think it's up for debate about whether how much any given fan is going to like that or not, right? Like the pluses of that are that certainly you get to go in fresh on September 6th, play the game, and have a bunch of experiences that you didn't already, see somebody else playing on a stream or something like that. And that's great. I appreciate like Bungie looking out for their fans in that sense. At the same time, I think there's a lot
By the way, I always think he's making the Xbox logo right now, is what I think every time I see that. Sorry to interrupt, but continue.
And a Sony rep walks on screen and tries to like block your view.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that there's going to be a lot of things that people just don't know about, right? Like they're not. You'll note here in this beta that they don't show off progression at all, right? There's no sense of how character growth works. You just kind of have a character, and
you shoot stuff.
And
it feels good. I mean, and by the way, anyone who's played Destiny, the best part about Destiny is you pick up the gun, you go like, oh man, it's been a while since I played, ching, 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 and you blow someone's head off, and you go, oh yeah, that's right.
That's why this is really fun. I get to shoot some stuff, and it really feels great.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one thing Bungie pretty much just doesn't get wrong at this point, is the actual moment-to-moment shooting gameplay is kind of immaculate, right? Every one of the guns that you can use feels distinct. Feels fun to use. The interactions that you're having with the enemies are just like really enjoyable. But they I think don't need to worry that part isn't going to work out. I think what a lot of fans are interested to see how things shake out is that progression system that they aren't showing here, right?
Yeah, but I mean, there are bits and pieces that they've given us in that, like, not having to go to orbit to go to
activities
is kind of amazing. Like, that alone like makes cruising around in the world a lot better. Because there would be times when my friends would be like, "Hey, we're gonna go do this, hang out," and I'd be like, "What? You want me just to sit here in the tower for the next 10 minutes?"
Right.
You know? And now you can be like, "Oh, well, I'm gonna go ahead and go to the planet. I'm gonna do this because we don't have to go back to orbit. We can go directly there." So, I'm hoping that encourages more, activities on planet, which is one of those things that I'm really looking forward to what they show and what they've done with that, because I think that's the area that had the most area for improvement, right?
Right.
Big armor, bigger guns, like giant space rhinos. Smash first, ask questions never.
Like, I never think back to Destiny 1, at least, and maybe other people feel differently. Whoa, you kind of took it right there.
Yeah, okay. I survived. That's the important thing.
I always liked the mission levels, right? Yeah. And this, what I played of this one so far is another solid mission level. It's like not shocking that they made another, that they're good at that.
Mm-hmm.
I also think that, raids and other things like that, I'm kind of assuming that they can, hit that same level of quality. And the open world part is the part where I go, like, that's the area that had the most room for improvement in my view.
Right.
And the most opportunities, especially too with the way they've always, like, I think learned through Destiny 1 how to, like, introduce more kind of random events that keep you kind of guessing a little bit in the world. And I'm really hopeful that they take that guessing game and kind of moment-to-moment surprises and really incorporate that into the world. But obviously, we haven't played that yet.
Right.
Look at that. The easiest legendary you will ever
exotic
get. Exotic you'll ever get. Yeah. Sorry.
Let's see. Let's check that guy out. So this is a good point to talk about. I mean, if you've been paying attention, you already know about this, but they've changed up all the weapon slots, right? Like, this is totally different structure. You have the kinetic weapons, the energy weapons, and your power weapons now, which include things like fusion rifles and shotguns. I think that might take a lot of getting used to. You know what I'm saying?
I don't think it's limiting, as you pointed out. It limits the amount of people that can run around and shotgun people in the face,
right,
and dominate. I think a lot of these decisions, I feel like, at least, are based on how they want to change and move forward with multiplayer,
right.
Which, for someone who doesn't play multiplayer, I'm sure they're a little bit annoyed. They're like, I liked having, a shotgun and a rocket launcher and really owning face. And I don't think the structure, at least from the time I played with it and the strike I did, and the multiplayer I played as well, that I felt like it was all that much different. It's just it's different. It's different. Yeah, it takes some getting used to. I mean, I think the thing that's intimidating about it is that, like, I think about someone who's good with pistols, and I think about them having 2 pistols, and I don't get that moment when they have to reload because they only have 6 shots.
Right.
And I dread that. And I think, but I'm
then
hopeful.
Again, you're also not having the shotgun guys necessarily who are going in and immediately wrecking face with their shotgun, and unless they take the time to really track down that power ammo.
It's true.
On the board.
I mean, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, like anything, like when I played it at the event, the launch event, or reveal event, I watched a lot of people play. I actually sat and watched a lot of multiplayer, and I watched guys who were known streamers, YouTubers, pros. I watched them all play because I recognized them, and I was like, oh, I should watch these guys play and see how they pull things off, and watched guys dominate. Right, there were people that were dominating very well at the new setup. But I do think, the metas will come to the surface, right? And if it's not shotguns that are owning the face, they'll figure out another combination that's going to be deadly. I mean, I have to assume so. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out, I think, and we won't really see that until we see. I think this weekend might be interesting to see. I think people will play a lot of multiplayer this weekend, and I think we'll see some interesting, come out of this.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the things that I'm really interested to see people begin to incorporate into their multiplayer strategies is the new class abilities, which I can show off here the Warlock in a second here when I get into a fight.
Yeah, this threw me off at first. I was like, what is this button doing?
So I'm holding down circle right now, and now I've set up this rift, right? And the rift has different abilities. I think the one that's preset for the...
it's a heal one, I think, is the one you have.
Yeah, it's the heal one. But there's also a different one that you could you could select that's Empowering Rift, I believe it's called, that basically makes you more powerful. And each of the classes has one of these class abilities that crosses their subclass, right? And so the ways that a good team could use those 3 abilities, so you've got Rift for the Warlock, you've got a kind of barricade shield thing for the Titan, and you've got Dodge for the Hunter, right?
Yeah, the Titan one is like a half shield. It's weird. It's kind of, once again, I feel like pushing their, like when they, there was the talent on guns that was like you did more damage behind cover, which I was like, well, that's worthless. I will never use that. And I want to say that I want to use this Titan power, but at the same time too, I go like, my first inclination is that's worthless.
Right. I mean, there's 2 versions of it, right? There's one that is that half shield. There's one that's a fuller shield. That I think is actually the one they've set.
That's usable.
That I think is going to be more usable for most players. Then again, maybe they've made the cover mechanic be a little bit more viable.
I mean, maybe
because of that ability.
I feel like I've got to see it, especially with the fact that everyone in this game can jump so high.
Right.
Like a half shield seems like, okay, you are now. It's kind of like the Warlock float to some degree, you know, like it just makes you an easy target.
Right.
And I worry that that's what that mechanic is going to introduce, or just be like, never use it because it just turns you into someone that's an easy target for everyone else to jump up in the air and shoot you in the head.
Right. Yeah, I mean it'll be interesting to see with the Warlock's new subclass being in the air as much as they are. It feels like they almost would have to have found some ways to adjust things to make it a little bit more viable, because the whole subclass of the Dawnblade, the one that I'm playing right now, is built around aerial superiority.
Yeah, and I mean that was the beauty of the bubble.
Yeah.
You know, is that it didn't matter where the damage came from. You were able to deal with it.
Can I just pause for a second and say I really, really love this scene right here. I love the idea of like coming back to the place that you've gone to a billion times in the original game, and it's just totally devastated, notably including just the rubble of your vault.
Yes. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like all those 3 years of work.
Staring at those 2 monitors.
Yeah,
I know, yeah. It's like, man, I got to manage my inventory today for an hour. This is going to be a blast.
Yeah.
No, I mean, the end of the tower is, I think, and they know it. It's symbolism of, what Destiny 2 is trying to do, is to change some of the standards they set, and for the better, we hope.
Right. Absolutely. Let's do a super here before we get out of Dodge and take some more Cabal out.
Yeah, this one's good. Well, you really owned that one guy.
I did.
Yeah, this I've played through what I think is like the next step, but I'm interested to see this whole bit. But I know there's is it the same strike that they showed at the launch?
It is. The one sort of fundamentally new thing that I haven't really messed with yet at all is there's some new competitive options in this beta. I'm not sure what the broader fan base is going to be expecting out of this beta. I mean, I think I kind of went in with a certain expectation that this was going to be not this big lengthy thing that maybe the first one was. I jumped right into the missiles, by the way, there. Did you like that?
That was nice work.
That's good, huh?
That seems like something I would do.
Yep. And you know, I'm curious to hear people's reaction. Oh, there's somebody in here with me, apparently. That's interesting.
Yeah, it's getting crazy.
It is getting crazy.
You got too many people on your friends list.
I think that might be true. I think people have just started joining in randomly. Oh, hey, Miller's on. They don't know that they're actually in the middle of a recording right now. That's fine.
Yeah, that's all right. It'll be really funny when you just
I just completely drop out.
Yeah, but I do think there are things to get from this. In that, like, you get to see. I mean, the graphics, in my opinion, are improved. Right? I think the game looks great.
I mean, even like this rainfall that's going on right now is really rad.
It is really nice. I think the weapons, I mean, it seem varied to me thus far. You know what I mean? Like, and I think I've seen in some of the videos, you see some things that definitely pay an ode to some of our favorites from Destiny 1, right? Which is great. I mean, we all are sad to see our inventories go.
Yeah, right.
But I think it's going to be fun to collect these new weapons, and some of them feel really good. The submachine gun, I haven't quite mastered yet. I was pretty bad at it when I tried to use it before.
Yeah, it's interesting. I want to show you, by the way, my favorite part of this entire mission.
You're such a nerd.
This guy, the guy whose whistle protocol has always been broken, and now he's this amazing whistler, and he killed all these Cabal. I love it.
His life is completely different now.
Where are we going here? Oh, we got to go up this way. Maybe.
No, that's different. I think I have the door open before.
This way. There we go.
Yeah, because this is where you get the war. And that's the fun thing I like about this. What they've shown in this mission is that all the people that just stood around in the tower before and did nothing
are actually doing stuff.
I'm being like this. You're like, yeah, all right, yeah,
really awesome.
Yeah, it's like, all right, Void Warlock. All right, let's go do it. So, and getting to see people use those powers and things that you use in the game, and seeing them as being like actually kind of part of the world,
right?
I think is great, and I think it's going to be interesting to see what other things they take that were like lore items that were banished to a grimoire,
right,
and are going to be now, hopefully a part of the game. I mean, that's the stuff I really hope they captured and got right.
I hope so too. I think one of the few hints that they've given about where they're going with the story suggests to me that those leads, Ikora, Cade, and Zavala, are actually really central to each of the planets, each of the different destinations.
Yeah, each planet I think has their own kind of hero and their own story that's kind of unfolding on that place,
exactly.
Right?
So you're gonna be working together with those characters in very concrete ways,
and that gets them. I mean, that's getting to know those characters is cool, right? I mean, it's much better than just the one stupid line you got in the tower.
Agreed.
Now that said, maybe they say stupid stuff to you the whole time while you're playing a level, and it's annoying. But I get the sense that's not the case. At first, I was going to mock your throwing, but you finished strong. Started weak.
I figured I'd use that before we finish out here, because we'll maybe watch this awesome cinematic here before we switch over, and we'll check out a couple of the other activities. But I think on the story point, the big thing for me is going to really be seeing how they can mix doing what they're clearly doing here very well, which is to have great cinematic moments and really cool action scenes that are accessible whether you're like a huge Destiny nerd or not, right? Like, this is just a great, like, oh, look at that, it's a cool spaceship flying up and getting into battle, and it's a fun scene. And how much they can balance that against the folks who, I think have been in on for that longer experience and have been around for several years of playing Destiny and do like that deeper lore and fiction, but they want it more in the game, right? Yeah. That second part is a lot harder to do successfully without just like dumbing it down, which I don't think is what fans necessarily want. They just want it more integrated into the overall experience.
Yeah, which they clearly say the grimoire is gone.
Yep.
Right. Or what?
It's not.
It's not on a
It's
site.
not a website.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. It may be in game, which I think is cool too. I going to some like Hall of Light library and cruising around is better than going to the website. At least in my opinion, even if it's something as basic as that.
Well, let's cut here for a second, and we're going to jump over to some other content that's part of the beta, and we'll take a look at that and keep chatting. Okay, so we've kind of jumped ahead a little bit. I switched over to my Titan, who'd already played through that opening story mission. And once you do, you have a chance to pick 3 different activities that you can do. You've got the strike that they've previously shown at E3, the inverted spire. You also have competitive multiplayer and quick play. So let's hop into some quick play and see what we encounter here. I think it's just going to sort of give us some matchmaking with random folks, and hopefully we'll get in pretty quick. Now, right away, you can see one thing that's a big change that has been much talked about amongst the community, which is that it is evaluating Guardians 1 of 8, not 1 of 12, 1 of 8. All of Crucible play is now 4v4, and that's kind of a big deal.
I think it's a big deal. I'm, as I pointed out, I've said this before. Before, when I stunk, I was only 1/6 of the power of our team,
right.
And now I am responsible
for a full quarter
of our success. And I don't know that I like that responsibility. I mean, I think that makes a big difference, right? You know, especially like Iron Banner weeks, I would play with some of my friends who were really good, right? And like I don't feel like I hurt the team when there were 6 of us, and those 5 could really, you know, crush,
right?
And not that I'm bad, but I definitely have my moments when I'm really good, and I have my moments when I'm pretty bad, right? Like just sometimes just the matchups, I face guys who just own my face, right?
Absolutely.
And I don't want to feel. I mean, I like feeling. I like that team element, right? I always like that team element. So the 4v4, maybe I won't notice. Maybe it'll just wash right off. Don't even think about it, and just go in and play competitive and have fun. Or I'm going to sit around and go like, man, I stink. I don't want to play this anymore because I'm responsible for too much of the success of our team.
Sure. Well, so we're going to check out we're now here in Control. One big thing you'll note, by the way, right away is that Control Point A, my team's cursing me right now because I'm not really helping them, but Control Point A, you start out with Control Point A, and the other team starts out with Control Point C. So everybody is immediately converging on B, presumably, to go and try and take it.
Gets rid of that moment of like, who's going to stand there and do nothing? Who's going to stand there and do nothing? Oh, you got a kill there.
But this is by the way literally my first time on this map. I have never seen it before, and so it'll be a little adventure for all of us.
I do think the strategy is to hang back and kill people around B before you try to take B.
Probably so.
Zone C secure.
So, I think overall there's this sense of wanting the Crucible experience to just be more competitive, right? To be more classically competitive, to force you, as you say, to really be not just a bystander, but to really be participating in the fight in a real way. And if you're not, that you're
grenade,
that you're going to be, you know, in trouble. And I think it'll be interesting to see how that balances out how people play. I think Destiny for a long time has been a game that did a good job of welcoming people who weren't necessarily like hardcore PvP players into the mix.
Yeah, encouraging.
And I hope that is still true. But I think that there is a recognition that ultimately a lot of who is playing.
That guy took a lot of shots to the face.
Did. I was avenged.
So, what weapons are you using here?
I've got a pulse rifle on, and let's see what I don't even know. I think this is a submachine gun.
Yeah, which I was like, just like you just shot a bunch of weird shots in the air that did nothing.
Right.
That's how I use the submachine gun right now.
That's good.
Yeah, it's very impressive. Yeah, exactly. But I love the pulse rifle.
Can't go wrong with the pulse rifle.
Yeah,
nice
it's a good
mix
weapon.
of medium range activity. Ooh, they switched me over.
Well, that one. Now look at that interesting noise.
Zone B lost. Zone advantage is yours.
Nice shot.
Oh crap!
Oh.
5 minutes. Could go your way. Could go theirs. I can watch fighters like this forever.
Nice commentary.
Yeah,
that was
Sharks
pretty
is really
hilarious.
doing
Yeah,
it.
Yeah, he's pretty amazing. And inevitably in any group I'm in, there was someone who will give you an example of his impression.
Uh-huh.
It's a nice map, though. It seems to be well done.
Yeah, I like it so far.
Captured. You have zone advantage. Zone A lost. Zone C.
Wrecking Crew, Reclaimer. I'm guessing that means you took back a lot of flags.
I think it may be suggesting that.
And that guy just didn't
He
even
just didn't even look at me.
It's just bullets in the side of his head over and over again.
He's retaking C on me.
Oh, stay!
Oh, but notably does not kill him anymore. I got to get used to that. Yeah, I think one of the things that the Crucible team talked to me a lot about the last time I was out at Bungie taking a first look at this game was the idea that they really wanted to get away from so many things being one-shots in this game.
Insta-kills, yeah. There's a lot of them.
The grenades, as we just noted, do no longer one-shot. It's pretty much power weapons, including sniper rifles and shotguns, and supers. That'll do it. Other than that, you kind of have these slightly longer engagements that you need to be concerned with.
Speaking of power, ammo is coming up in 5 seconds.
Oh, I should maybe go try to do that.
Yeah.
Well, that's another thing, actually. Well, the people who, when you get power ammo, you're basically taking it from your team as well, which is interesting. It's not a thing where if everybody's close by, that everybody gets it, if that makes sense.
Yeah. There's the one instance of ammo that's there for someone to take on either team, right? Or does each team get their own set?
I think it's just everyone. Like anywhere in the
zone, yeah.
Anybody can go and pick it up in that spot.
Which makes some like interesting points of like you can hang back, kill people who just run up and try to grab it. I mean, there's obviously a lot of strategy there as you fight for that power ammo. It makes it interesting points. Once again, I think there's interesting changes to multiplayer. Like I said, that's what I'm excited about this weekend is playing a lot of quick play and competitive to see how it.
Just the feel of it's different.
Exactly.
I think the pace is a little. I don't want to say that it's slower. It's not that it's slower. It's just that the engagements that I've played, both what I'm playing right here and what I play when I was out at Bungie, they just take a little longer. In a lot of cases, because the weapon damage is maybe a tad bit lower.
Yeah, I mean, you could definitely say it makes it strategic.
Yeah, there's a little bit more kind of maybe strategy going on there.
And we'll also, as I saw too, like teams that stuck together, which I know this is like, thanks Andy for the really amazing multiplayer hints, but just watching teams that knew how to move together and move within the map together definitely are going to take advantage, which is, things you classically see in Call of Duty and other competitive games, Halo, that make a difference. And I think they really, like you said, they want to bring those competitive pieces.
They've also moved, I don't know if it kind of jumped us away from that screen at the end, but they've also moved a little bit in the Overwatch direction of having it be less about KD and a little bit, there's a new number that's about efficiency, right? That they're trying to sort of gauge how well you're doing. And like what Overwatch has done, kind of moving away purely from this thing of like, who's the guy who got the most kills?
Yeah.
And more towards, are you helping your team? Which I think is an interesting.
No, I mean, I think anyone who's played with that guy who's just like, dude, the idea of this game is to hold these points, and he's like, I'm killing everybody, and sometimes they'll like.
Sometimes that's good.
Yeah, sometimes you're like, wow, that guy killed everybody, right? And like we just stood here and won. But there are times when you're like, God, man, this is a good match.
Just hold me.
Yeah, you're good enough to do it, right? Yeah. If you did this, you could do it all on your own.
Totally.
But there's always someone who has to go and be, the one man show, and hopefully that will encourage. I have a feeling anyone that's that like, let's just call them selfish. How about that? As a person is not going to change just because there's like a different rating, but it's good. I mean,
I think it's good to find ways to
cool ship.
Isn't that, yeah, I made that myself.
Yeah, you did. Sure.
I think it's good to find ways to reward different behaviors. In that final screen, right, and to show off different behaviors.
Well, it's just like sometimes. I mean, I'm a classic example. That's why I worry about my 25%. Right. Is that like I don't mind holding the fort, right?
Sure.
I prefer to hold the fort. But you're right. When we get to the end of the match, the guy who runs in guns a-blazing every time, he's going to have a higher KD than me and, you know, always be at the top. And in particular, when they had challenges, like some of the quests you could do for PvP that was like, you need to be in the top 3 for KD to get this achievement, right? Those were always hard, right? But I could get them. It just took a little more work for me than like people that, you know, like our friends that would go in there and be like,
just
I got all 6 of them in one run. And you're like, well, that was nice.
Yeah.
I am not going to get them all in one run.
We're too old.
Yeah. Too slow.
Too slow, exactly.
Yeah.
Am I in here with other people? It feels like they matchmake me, and I see some people on my...
I believe you are, and I believe that they have moved forward and you have not.
I think they have too, but...
I don't remember this part of the...
I know. I feel like they kind of just dropped me into the middle of this strike, but that's okay.
Yeah.
It gives us a chance to talk about the, you know, Nessus being this new location, which I think is quite cool looking.
It's very blue.
Yeah, it's a new sort of take
vehicle
on the on the sort of Vex machinery world sort of stuff, which I like. It's always been one of my favorite parts of the fiction is that architecture of the Vex, I think, is really fun. This kind of monolithic blocks everywhere.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's the thing is that I have yet to see a planet that I haven't been interested in. And, you know, the thing that always annoys me on any of the planets is just like, I want to go there. No. I want to go there. No.
Right. And though they haven't shown off too much of it, I think people are beginning to get a little bit of a sense of the actual open locations of places like Nessus and the European Dead Zone are going to have a lot of things you can do. You've got these adventures that you can go on that are going to tell you the story of those locations. And you know, you mentioned before.
Can I go ahead and guess the story now? We fought the Vex here and we lost. We fought them here and lost. It's going to be the thing that they're going to repeat over and over again.
It's like you've already played the game.
We got to take it back, man. We got to take it back.
I wish I knew where my guys were.
Well, they're to your
to
your left and right. Way. Well, there's the dot, which seems to indicate like you should be going that way.
Yeah, I'll go over that way.
The all-powerful dot.
When I'm talking on mic, I sometimes just like, oh, there's a guy in front of me. I'll just kill him, and I
kind of do that in game all the time. You're like, there's someone there to kill. I should kill them. I have that problem in like later, you know, later in Destiny 1, there were a lot of people that every time you did a strike, they wanted to do it in the fastest possible time.
Right. So, and you would want, and you'd just be kind of back in the back.
Like, oh, I'm shooting something. You're like, oh my gosh, they're almost done. I guess I should be running. Which, because I mean, I get it that there's like, we're just trying to get the loot, which I'm. You know, obviously I play these games. I love the loot. But now this is looking familiar to me. Okay.
Man cannon.
But you know, it's kind of boring to just run through the level, not shoot any. I mean, I play the game to shoot things.
Right. Yeah. That is always there's always a certain weirdness there. I think when people are like, here, I figured out the best way to skip all the gameplay of this game.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay.
Yeah, you did indeed.
You did.
Congratulations.
This is really no fun at all. Way to go.
Also, from my playthrough of this before, I thought this one, like, the sound effects production, as I think everyone who's a fan of Bungie knows, stellar. I was very impressed.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great vibe. Which just, you know, sets me up. People are like, are you excited for Destiny 2? I mean, you played Destiny 1. I mean, is there going to be anything new? I'm like, yes. A million times yes. Yeah, I'm excited for Destiny 2.
Yeah. It definitely seems like it's an attempt on Bungie's part to, like, recognize that there's a lot of things about their game that were great.
Yes.
Right? But there were other things about their game that made it unfriendly to certain people. And that seems to be the places where they're really focusing their efforts. And those of us who are maybe more veteran players are going to get to reap the benefits of that, I think.
I hope so. Yeah.
Hopefully.
I hope so. Yeah, I hope
right?
So. Yeah, I'm very hopeful. I mean, agree completely. They want to get more people involved. They felt like they, or I felt like they had a great game. And every time someone's like, I played it, got bored, which, everyone's got opinions and everyone's got different flavor. But I'm like, did you do this? Did you do this? Did you do? I just think of all the great things that I was lucky enough to do in Destiny. But I think, even when I think we talked about it on a podcast, and we were like, we need to, I hope it gets more people into raids. And someone like, I don't like raids. I don't want to get to raids. It's like, yeah, it's true. Yeah, I mean, maybe they're not for everyone, and maybe that's not what they need to surface. But I still think you need to be able to find the content, whether you like that content or not, in easy ways. And there were times when it was difficult in Destiny 1.
Absolutely. The new guided games function stuff, I think, is going to be a really compelling experiment to see if it works out.
Yeah.
Right? The idea there being that your clan becomes this sort of guiding principle for meeting up with people. And if you're not, either you're not currently playing with your clan because they're not online, or if you're just kind of a lone wolf player and you don't have a lot of friends that you play with normally. Oh, these guys with the butcher knives are trouble.
Yeah, I mean, I still say the Destiny 1 community was one of the best gaming communities I encountered. There was bad people in it because there's bad people everywhere, but I mean, like, overall, I found it to be amazing. You know what
Absolutely.
I mean? And I certainly hope more people play Destiny 2. I sure hope more cool people play Destiny 2. That it doesn't get so popular that it turns into a meat grinder of assholes. But that was maybe that was the charm of like some of the hidden knowledge of Destiny 1 was that it weeded out people that weren't willing to learn and left some people that really cared about this place, right?
And that's a hard balance to hit, right? Like you don't want. I'm sure Bungie is trying to be careful not to have so much of that like hidden knowledge, right? You can see that in the way they've structured their subclasses, for instance, right? Like now when you have a subclass, whether you like it or not, you're going to play an optimized version of your subclass. That's just what you're going to do because you can't switch out a lot of stuff the way that you could with Destiny 1. And yeah, maybe that leads to a little less customization, but it also means that people who aren't cruising the Destiny Reddit every day have a chance to play their character class the way that it's meant to be played. So whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, I don't think after playing the beta for an hour we can really make a conclusion about. But it's interesting. It's an interesting choice.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's one of those things too that I don't write many reviews, and I wrote a review on Destiny, and it's like there's a lot of things to discuss, and I think when this game comes up for review, there'll be a lot of things to discuss about the decisions and changes they made,
right,
to this game.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think we're showing things off here. I mean, the good thing about this beta is that we are right now playing with a pre-order code so that we can get in here today. But pretty much anybody who wants to, on console anyway, can check out all of this content come this weekend. If you're on Xbox, you'll be able to, and you have a pre-order code, you can play tomorrow. But otherwise, you can just download it and play the open beta in a few days. If you're curious, I am very much hoping that some of my friends who didn't play Destiny 1, and some of our coworkers even who didn't play Destiny 1, consider checking out the game in this beta form and kind of getting a sense of like, is this maybe worth giving a shot now? Right? Has it resolved the things that made me not interested in the first one? And if that, if we get some more players out of the mix, it's bigger communities, more diversity in the player groups. That's always a good thing.
More raids to run.
More raids to run, exactly. Well, maybe we should leave it there, you think?
Yeah, we can do that. I mean, I know people want nothing but more and more of Andy and Miller talking endlessly.
That's right.
About nothing. Well, about Destiny 2, I guess.
We have spent many an evening just sort of waxing philosophical, as if we are on mic.
Yeah, it's true.
Just boring our fellow players with our thoughts about Destiny.
Yeah, maybe a little more swearing, perhaps.
There may be a little bit more swearing in that case.
In those editions, but yes, I think this is a good cross section, and I think definitely check if you don't check it out this weekend. I mean, I've looked at a lot of games this year, and I'm excited about a lot of games this year. Destiny 2 tops the list as like my most anticipated game of the year. So I hope other people give it a chance because Destiny 1 was a lot of fun, and I think Destiny 2 is shaping up to be pretty impressive.
Indeed. Well, thanks for watching, everybody, and maybe we will see you online here sometime later.
Later.